I want to welcome you to Real Estate Investing Live as well. And we are actually going to be joining a couple of other markets. We're in Atlanta. We're in Columbia, South Carolina. We're also in Sarasota, Florida. And I want to welcome them. And I want to introduce our keynote speaker for tonight. And I know for a fact, who was here last month with Cody Hoffheim? Cody, did Cody do a great job? Yeah. Guys, cut from the same mold, from the same cloth. Brent Daniels is someone who just has an enormous heart for helping people. And none could be more, it's not more evident than when I first met him. You know, he's a former football player, looks a little intimidating, but when you meet him, it's like, man, this dude like really loves people so much. He gives away all of his best stuff. He is here tonight to help. Who has never done a deal? Raise your hand. You've never done a single deal. Wouldn't it be awesome if someone stood on this stage for the next hour and told you exactly how to go out and get your first deal? Would that be awesome? I know Brent is going to come up here and deliver. And with that being said, everybody, please do me a favor and stand up on your feet and give a great REI Live welcome to Brent Daniels.
Appreciate you, man. Let's check this.
Who wants this hat? Who wants a 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 hat?
Yeah. Let's get this thing going. First of all, guys, let's give a big hand again to Brittany and to the guy that is absolutely obsessed with you guys being successful in this market, Mr. Brian Tripp. Give him a hand. Do you feel it? Do you feel it? Look at that. Look at my shirt. Look at that. Look at my shirt. I am literally hypnotizing you. I'm literally hypnotizing you for TTP, which stands for Talk to People. It is a philosophy on how to source the absolute biggest and best deals in your marketplace by providing so much value every single day by just picking up the phone and talking to people. In this presentation, I am going to put together, I'm going to show you the action plan for sourcing the absolute best and biggest deals in your marketplace. But we got to start with something here. We got to start with some context. We got to start with context. Here's the thing. When you get advice, what is the context? When you get a plan, how do you know it's going to work? What you should be doing is sitting there, everybody sitting there saying, prove it, prove it, prove it, Brent. Prove that this will actually work. If I take the steps that you talk about at the end of this presentation, I'm going to build this whole thing up. We're going to go on a wild ride here. But you have to prove it. It has to be something that's proven. It has to be something that you believe in your core will actually work if you implement the plan that I've got here. The step-by-step plan for you to get the biggest and best deals. I don't care if you've never done a deal. I don't care if you've done 1 billion deals. I don't care if you've done millions and millions and millions. You can still implement the simple plan of talking to people. That's what this whole business is about. One way or another, we're going to have to talk to somebody. I don't care if it's a real estate agent. I don't care if it's a wholesaler. I don't care if it's a distressed property owner. So let's start at the absolute key here. Here's the key. The key to sourcing opportunities. If nothing else resonates tonight, this is the absolute key. The key is you need to have quality conversations with distressed property owners. That's it. If you focus your whole business, even if this is a side hustle, even if this is what you're doing full time, if all you do is focus on quality conversations with distressed property owners, you win. It's undefeated. It's flawless. It's perfect. If you consistently have quality conversations with distressed property owners, and even better yet, if you connect everything you want financially to your ability and your business's ability to do this, you win. You connect everything you want financially, paying off all your debts, buying assets, buying apartment buildings, buying land, going on vacation, doing this full time, whatever your financial goals are, sitting 50-yard line at the University of Alabama football game, whatever it is. That's it. Let's get something here, guys. Let's get it, you guys. But that's it. It's all connecting quality conversations with distressed property owners. So what I want to do something a little bit weird here with you guys. I want to do something a little weird because I think that to understand the context of how this was put together, to understand the process that it went through so that it works, I think we got to go through and understand the experience. And I understand that a lot of times it's, here's my rags to riches story. Here's when I was poor and now I'm doing well. Here's when I wasn't winning and now I'm a winner. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody says the same shit, right? Everybody does, right? This is what I did. This is where I'm at. You can do it too, right? It's to relate, right? But I want to do it a little bit different. I want to peel open my brain. I want to put you inside it. I want you to feel it like you are going through this. That I want you to feel it like you're at the place where you understand exactly what the process is to the action plan that I'm going to outline at the end of this presentation, okay? And we're going to start this. So this is your story, right? This is your story, but I'm going to tell it. Okay, we're going to start at present day. But at the end of this, you guys are going to be absolutely convinced that talking to people is the single best thing that you can do for your financial future. So let's start now. I want you to imagine that you've done over $3 million of deals from picking up the phone and calling people, talking to distressed property owners. I want you to feel that every week you get $30,000 checks. Every single week. You work 10 to 20 hours in and on your business. Just 10 to 20 hours. That's all you do, okay? You've paid off all your debts, your mortgage, your car, your student loans, your credit cards, everything. You have no consumer debt at all. You're at home every night for dinner. You have a robust savings account. You've got a custom cabin up in the mountains. You got a second home. Maybe it's on a beach. You've got a rental and vacant land portfolio, okay? Oh, shoot. I'm pressing too hard here. Momentum. You've got a superstar group of people working for you. You've got just absolute killers on the phone, your phone prospectors. You've got unbelievable closing machines with your acquisition managers, your disposition managers. You've got an operations manager. You got a lead manager that runs your whole business, and they all love working for you. They all do. They're thrilled about it. You keep 50% of the income. And I don't know if once you start doing a lot of deals in this business, the profit margins start shortening up as soon as you start spending a lot more on people and processes and things. 50% you get to keep. And you wake up you wake up absolutely on fire every single day. Electric. You're so excited about what the day is going to bring you. You can't wait to get up. You can't wait to see what deals you're going to get. It's pretty awesome. You're feeling pretty awesome. Let's rewind the tape back. Let's go back 6 years ago. Okay? You have $1 million judgment against you. Okay? You have $1 million, not mortgage, $1 million judgment against you. You're driving a car your dad gave you because yours got repoed in the middle of the night. Okay? You live in a really depressing one-bedroom apartment. It's dark. You hate it. You can't even open up a bank account because your credit's so bad. They won't even let you deposit your own money into a regular bank. You have a 1-year-old, which feels like a 40-year mortgage with a really high interest rate. Anybody feel that? Yeah. And you make money as a real estate agent or job, and it's just slowly killing you. It's just slowly, you can't handle it anymore. It's just too much. It's just not your passion. It's slowly draining you. So you go out and you start driving around town. You see a really rundown property, okay? You stop the car, you look around, there's dumpsters and rehabs going on all over the neighborhood, all over the street. You know that there's potential in this property. People are wanting to buy these properties and renovate these properties. So you stop the car outside. You are just scared to death to get out of your car and go knock on that door. You're just not going to do it. But then you realize an important fact. Being broke is 1,000 times worse than talking to a stranger about their property. 1,000 times worse. So you get out and you go and you knock on the door. Please don't answer. Please don't answer. Please don't answer. And they answer. And you don't know what the hell to say to them, right? You are just absolutely, yeah, I was driving down the street and I saw your house, and do you want to sell it? Do you see a sign in the front yard, sir? No? Get off of my property. Sorry, sir. Yep, you got it. But there's something there. You had a conversation. You talk to a property owner that obviously the property was in distress. So you start knocking more, and you start knocking more, and you start knocking more, until one day you knock on a property and the gal answers, and she says she doesn't want to sell her house. She loves her house, but she's the caretaker of the house 4 houses down. And that gal lives in New York, and she doesn't want to do anything with this property. She doesn't know what to do. Let me call her and get permission to see if you can give her a call and talk to her about buying this property. So she comes back with a slip of paper with the phone number of the owner, the name and the phone number. You instantly call it up and you start talking to this gal. And all of a sudden, you start realizing there's a deal there. She's talking numbers that make sense. You're able to lock it up. Something magical happened. Something magical happened when you had the opportunity to get the phone number of a distressed seller. You were able to make contact right now. You were able to have that conversation right now. And because of that, you got your first deal. And you felt amazing. And all of a sudden, that little part, that little place that you stay, that little land of, I believe I can do something, turns into, it's a fact that I can do something, right? It's a beautiful transition. That bridge across there is a beautiful transition. It changes you. So then you start wondering, if I just got all the phone numbers for all the rundown properties that I drive across, I could just call them up. And I could just see if they would consider an offer, and hopefully some of them will say yes. So you start figuring out, how do I get the phone numbers? And then you stumble across something called skip tracing, right? Skip tracing basically is this beautiful tool that you upload the name and the address of the owner, and you get their current phone number. It's incredible. Things have changed. You were out there door knocking all the time in the sun, running around, trying to avoid dogs that are loose, ringing on doorbells, waking up babies. And now you can make calls from your house, from your office, from your car, from the coffee shop, from a bar, wherever. It doesn't matter. You pick up the phone and you have the ability to have those conversations. So you have the names, you have the addresses, you have the phone numbers. It's all printed out. You've got them right there. And you still have no idea what you're doing. You have no idea what to say. You have no idea how to say it. You don't know if you go as this strong investor with a strong tone. You don't know if you go as, I've got, a timid approach, and maybe that'll help you get through the door. Right? You don't know what you're doing. You've got your list. You've got everything. It's right there. The money is in the list. The money is in the phone numbers. The money is in the conversations. And you don't know how to get past them answering the phone. You're trying everything. You're working it. Like a scientist, you start experimenting. And you realize, after making all these calls, that the first 4 seconds of a conversation gets you the next 30 seconds. What you say in the first 4 seconds gets you the next 30 seconds of conversation. So you start practicing it. You start working on it. You start working on your tone of voice. You start working on the pace that you talk to people at. You can't just blow out somebody and be bombastic with somebody that's old and talk slower. And you can't talk slower to somebody that's ready to go right now and they're action takers. So you start mirroring and matching the tone of voice that they use. And after hundreds of conversations, you come up with the golden script. The script that you use, and all of a sudden people are actually talking to you when you call them. You've tried it all. You tried calling them by their first and last name. You tried calling them Mr. Williams, Miss Smith. It didn't work. You sounded like a credit card collection agency. You sounded like customer service. So you just go with their first name only. You just call them up and you call them by their first name, and they think that they know you. All of a sudden, you're starting to open up the conversation. The conversation isn't shut down the second that you pick up the phone and ask them for Mr. or Mrs. Or you go with their full name. You go with just their first name. And you say, "Hi, this is Brent. I know this call is completely out of the blue, but I was calling about a property I believe you own on 1212 West Jefferson." You want to sound like you want to make sure that it's their property. Not that you know something that they don't know, or that their information's out there for anybody to have. That you know that this is their property. That you know that this is the right number for them. But you're a little bit hesitant. And they say, "Yeah, what about it?" And you ask the simple question, "I just wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property there." On your property there. Interesting question. And they answer. And what you realize is after asking this question over and over and over and over again, there's only 6 responses that you get. This is like a light bulb moment. This is eureka. All of a sudden I can ask the question if you would consider an offer on your property and there's only 6 responses? What if I figured out how to respond to all those 6 responses? And the 6 responses being, "Yes, I do want to sell." "No, I don't." "Maybe in the future." "How much will you give me?" "How'd you get my number?" And "Who are you?" Right? So you start developing responses to that. You start working and seeing how you can open up the conversation after they give you an initial response. So they tell you yes. Or they tell you, "How much will you give me?" And you say, "Well, we purchase properties cash. We pay all the closing costs. There's no real estate commissions. And the best part is we buy them completely as is. So you don't have to put another cent into the property. So for an offer like that, how much would you take?" And the conversation flows. Or they say, "How much will you give me?" And you say, "You know what, that's a great question. I want to make sure that we give you a solid offer. Can you tell me, have you done any major remodeling to your kitchen and bathrooms in the last 5 years?" Because what you discovered is, after talking to a lot of people, the easiest thing for them to talk about is the condition of their property. The longer they talk about the condition of the property, the less of their force field they have, the less stiff arming they're doing in the conversation. All of a sudden, they're starting to communicate with you because the conversation's already going. You're already understanding how many bedrooms and bathrooms and square feet and what upgrades and what needs work. They tell you no. And that's fine. I completely understand. Do you have any other properties that you would consider selling? Maybe something that needs a little bit of work, something that needs a little bit of love. This gets you so many deals because they don't want to sell the house that you're calling about, but they just inherited a property, or they have a bad tenant in another property, or they have a vacant home, or they have a piece of land, or they know somebody that needs to sell a property. You start pulling deals out of people telling you no, they don't want to sell a property. It's incredible. They give you a maybe. "Okay, great. Should I call you back in a month? What's going to change? When are you thinking you want to sell the property? When do you think you want your money for the property?" You start asking the questions so that you start to discover why they're saying maybe and instead of yes right now. And the key that you found is you tell them, "Do me a favor, save my phone number under my name, Homebuyer. Brent Homebuyer. That way, when I call you back, you know who it is, and if anything changes, you know who to call. Fair enough? Fair enough. Awesome. How'd you get my number? Classic. How'd you get my number? I have an internet provider that I send in a bunch of addresses, and they send me the phone numbers back, and sometimes I get lucky. Okay. A lot of times you find that this is the gatekeeper of them not wanting to talk to you. How'd you get my number? Did Bob give you the number? Is he trying to kick me out of the neighborhood? What's going on here? Did he give you the number? I know he gave you the number. Admit it. No, just answer the question honestly. Who are you? I'm a local real estate buyer. You start saying investor to people and they shut down. They shut down. They think that you're trying to steal the property from them. But you're just a local real estate buyer looking to do tasteful remodels. Tasteful remodels. Not fix and flips. Tasteful remodels. You discover the words that you're using are opening up these conversations. And then a miracle happens. You start getting leads. You're so excited. You get into your car, you drive around, you go to the appointments, you're ready to go, you're ready to get the contract signed, and they don't sign the contract. Until you discover the 4 pillars of pre-qualification that you take every single conversation through. Every single conversation that you have with a distressed property owner, you put through the 4 pillars of pre-qualification. Condition of property, their timeline to sell, their motivation to sell, and the price that they want. Now, all of a sudden, armed with these new 4 pillars, you start getting rid of all your bad leads because you're spending all your time following up with people that'll never do business with you. And now you laser focus on the people that'll actually do business with you. And you start getting deals miraculously. You're following up. You're calling them. You're pre-qualifying them. You're following up with them, and they're signing the agreement. In order to stay on top of your phone prospecting, your lead follow-up, your appointments, your selling of the appointments, you determine what is the absolute best schedule to maximize your priorities. And this is what you come up with. Very simple. The morning for finding deals. The afternoon for doing deals and selling the deals. Very simple. From 9 to noon every day, you block off everything. This is sacred time. This is the time that you're reaching out. This is the time that you're getting new leads, the new opportunities. You're having new conversations with distressed property owners. This is absolutely the highest and best use of your time, and you don't let anything distract you. You turn off the TV, you turn off the radio, you're not on the internet, you're just making your calls. You only need 15 minutes for lunch. You eat fast. It's no big deal. You don't need an hour. So you eat lunch fast. That's just the type of person you are. 12:15 to 2 o'clock, you start doing your lead follow-up and you start comping your properties to see if these are really deals. And then from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you go on the appointments, you sell your properties, and you talk to new cash buyers. But you've been hand dialing this whole time. You've been literally on an Excel sheet of paper hand dialing for 3 hours every single day. And it gives you nightmares. Hearing a ringing tone literally gives you nightmares. It freaks you out. It's too much. It's overwhelming. Your brain has not been developed to take that much ringing. So then you discover that you can use a dialer, and you upload all your lists, all your phone numbers into a computer system that dials the numbers for you, and when people pick up, you talk to them. And instead of making 30 calls an hour, you're making 150 calls an hour. Instead of talking to 3 or 4 people, you're talking to 15 people. And you discover that every 15 people you talk to, you get a lead. And every 30 leads you get a deal. There's no way you could have done that if you were hand dialing. You used technology and you blew it up. And every deal you close, you discover that there's 3 core elements to every single seller you do business with. 1, they want to sell the property. They want to sell the property. You get so frustrated because there's plenty of people that need to sell their property. They're going to foreclose. The property is every single day getting worse and worse and worse. They're losing money every single day. They need to sell this property, but they won't sign a contract. So you understand that the people that will want to sell their property. 2, they trust you to get the deal done. There's something about you that they trust. They trust in your presentation. They trust in the way that you talk. They trust in your business. They trust that you can get the deal done. And 3, they have a problem you can solve. You talk to plenty of people whose problem is they want to sell at market value and not pay a realtor. That's their problem. You can't solve that problem. You talk to plenty of people that own rental properties and they have under market rents and they've signed a lease for 4 years. You can't solve that problem. But there's plenty of other problems that you can solve. These are the core elements of every single distressed seller. And right before you quit for the day, you make one more call and you talk to Tommy. Tommy inherited a property from his grandfather. Property's terrible, needs everything, needs complete remodel. But you ask him that important question, well, how much are you looking to get for it? He tells you $60,000. And you have that moment where your heart stops. $60,000. Holy cow. You know that this is the deal. This is that MD, that massive deal that you've been trying for. You've made 5,000, you've made 10,000, you made 7,000. This is that massive deal. You ask the important question, if I can give you 60,000, you sign the paperwork today. You don't say contract. Contract causes friction. Contract's something that, attorney, contract, paperwork, agreement. So you go over there, you sign the contract. 48 hours later, you sell it for $102,000. 3 weeks later, you get a check for $42,000, and the chemistry in your brain is changed forever. Forever. And then you just keep building, and keep building, and keep building, and keep building, and keep building. And that is your story. I'm going to pull you out of my brain now, okay? That is the story. That is how the whole program, the whole TTP program came about, is just taking proactive action. Didn't have the funds to market, didn't have the knowledge to know all that I needed to know about wholesaling or building a cash buyer database. Just straight action, straight talking to people. Let me give you some tips here. We'll get into the meat and potatoes of this. Your income is equal to the amount of value you provide to the marketplace. I have a lot of students around that say, I want to make $250,000 this year. I want to make $100,000 this year. I want to make $1 million this year. Okay, well, what value are you going to bring to the marketplace? How are you going to bring $1 million of value to the marketplace? How are you going to bring $250,000 to the marketplace? How are you going to bring $100,000 to the marketplace? Income equals value. There's only 3 ways to source a deal. 1 is referrals. It's building a huge network of people that send you deals. It is highly effective. It is highly profitable. It takes a lot of time. And oftentimes it's unpredictable. But you get a lot of deals. 2, you marketing. You get a marketing budget, you put it together, you put all your marketing out there, direct mail, pay-per-click, bandit signs. You wait for people to call you, right? But in that waiting, in marketing, there is an inherent anxiety that goes along with marketing. What if you miss the call and they don't answer when you call them back? What happens when you spend money and you're waiting and you're hoping that you can get calls coming in, right? Can I go to the gym or am I going to miss a call? Can I go on vacation or am I going to miss a call? Can I go out to dinner or am I going to miss a call? I tell this funny story because I have a friend that decided he was going to do a lot of marketing. He's going to spend a lot of money on it. And he changed his ringtone to when they called his phone number, it was a cash register. Cha-ching, 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 right? So whenever there was a cha-ching, cha-ching that he heard, he dropped everything, literally everything, to answer that cha-ching, cha-ching. It didn't matter where we were at. If we were working out, if we were having dinner, if we were whatever. I mean, just normal stuff. Cha-ching, cha-ching, totally, it was the leash on his life. He literally had nightmares of hearing cha-ching, cha-ching when he was sleeping. That is so stressful. That is unbelievably stressful. You have no control of your schedule if you're doing this yourself. And then you have prospecting, reaching out, being proactive, picking up the phone. Does it take more effort? Absolutely. Do you have to build skills? Absolutely. Do you get a lot of rejection? Oh, yeah. Can you do it with very little budget? Absolutely. Could one phone call change everything financially for you? Absolutely. Could it change your brain chemistry? 100%. You have to have self-awareness to know which one's best for you. Are you able to go out and be proactive every single day? Or would you rather things just come to you? Or would you rather build a network where you get a ton of referrals? It's just self-awareness. You can do it all. It just depends on who you are. It just depends. Be careful of the 3 Ps. This is important. If you are going to decide to talk to people, if you're going to decide to pick up the phone, there's the 3 Ps that will stop you or try to stop you in your tracks. One is procrastination. My leg hurts today. I'm just not feeling it. I'm just not. I'll make the calls tomorrow. I'll make them tomorrow. Make it up. I'll do double the time. I'll push it. It's raining. Nobody wants to answer the phone when it's raining. This is crazy. This is bananas. I'll just do it tomorrow. Let me check the weather. It's going to be sunny. I'm going to get so many more deals when it's sunny out. Procrastination. Perfectionism. I need to know the script perfect. I need to know every single objection handler. I'm not going to take any action unless I've got this thing down perfect. I don't want to look stupid. That's the worst thing ever. I don't want to be stupid. I don't want anybody to reject me. I got to be perfect at this. I got to have a business card. I got to have a logo. I got to have a website. I got to have all these things that before I even start getting out there and working on my business, talking to people. Paralysis by analysis. Is this the best list to call? Are these numbers right? How many numbers do I have to call before I get a deal, Brent? What do I have to do? Be real. Paralysis by analysis. All 3 of these P's will stop you from taking action. Stop you from those conversations. Stop you from having a conversation with a distressed property owner that you can help, that you can solve their problem. Creative avoidance is real. Creative avoidance. I gotta make sure that all the paperwork's perfect at title. I gotta shuffle around here. I don't want to make calls yet because I gotta run down and I gotta pick up something from the grocery store. I gotta take out the trash. I gotta do. I got to make sure that I got gas in the car. All these creative avoidances that just keep you from it keeps pushing you back from taking action and talking to people. Beware of creative avoidance. You are who you hang around. This is awesome, right? The REI. I saw a lot of hands here the last time that you guys did it with Cody. Which means that you guys are hanging around, you guys are networking with each other. You are who you hang around. You want to do more deals, you want to talk to more people, you want to be more successful, you got to hang around people that are more successful. The quickest and fastest way to do that is join a REI, join a mentorship, join something that has people that are trying to get to the same outcome as you. Who you are who you hang around with. Start every day at 0. Sorry, this slide's kind of goofy. Start every day at 0. So what's going to happen is, if you guys do take action, if you guys do talk to people, if you guys do get lists of distressed property owners, if you do skip trace those numbers, if you do call those people, if you do lead follow-up, you are going to get deals. And what happens when you get deals is you get big checks. And when you get big checks, you take your foot off the gas, right? So you got to start every day at 0. You have 0 deals. You have 0 money in your bank account. You have 0 appointments. You have 0 opportunities coming in, 0 leads. You start every day at 0 to avoid complacency. Talking to people is a skill that affects your whole life. If you talk to 1,000 strangers about their property, you can talk to anybody about their property. If you talk to 1,000 strangers about their property, you can talk to anybody about anything. It is a skill that you build and you build and you build, and it never goes away. You learn that there's different communication behaviors, different styles, different personality styles. You start understanding and figuring out how to communicate with those styles. It is something that never goes away. Not many people do it. There is a hierarchy of cold calling. Now, I know some people in here are doing cold calling. I've got some TTP family members in here. I've got some people that hire out. There's people that have already got people making calls for you. So here is the hierarchy of cold calling. 1 is you. You're going to be the best. You're absolutely going to be the best at it. You've got the most to gain, right? You've got you get the most profits from it, and you're going to know in your belly if it's a deal, right? You're going to know if it's a deal. Next is somebody working in your office or your home making the calls for you. Somebody that's in there, somebody that wants to be in your world, right? In your little pocket there. Somebody that you can be around. They want to be like you, right? They're going to be about half as good as you. Okay? The next down is somebody that is an American making calls from home. They're going to be about 25% as good as you. And then if you hire somebody that lives in a foreign country, it's going to be 5 to 10% as good as you are. That's fine. You just got to look at your budget. Got to look at your budget and see which ones you want to go with. If you don't want to make the calls, then just understand if it's somebody that's working for you, then they have to do twice as many calls. So you hire two people. And build it and build it and build it. You got to stack the small wins. Getting a deal closed is not the only win. Getting in your car and driving to a property and writing down a distressed property or driving for dollars property is a win. Getting the phone number for that is a win. Picking up the phone and calling that person is a win. Talking to somebody is a win. You have to stack all the small wins because it's the small actions that lead to the big results, the big checks, the big opportunities. You got to stack the small wins. Don't just think that closing a deal is the only way you can win. When you're making calls, script, tone, pace. I'll give you guys all the script. So you got that. The tone of voice is huge. We talked about it. Your pacing is huge. You got to focus on those 3 things. If you're training somebody to make the calls, those are the 3 things that you train them on. The script, their tone, and their pace. Yeah. There is something that I discovered pretty early on, but I've really discovered hiring a lot of phone prospectors. The ones that are active listeners are the absolute superstars. That means they nod their head when they're talking. That means when somebody's talking to them, they're saying, sure, got it. Oh, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, okay. New roof, great, sure, But they're talking and they're asking great questions and they're letting the sellers, the owners of the property do most of the talking. They're just in the background confirming. If you are quiet after asking a question, it turns into an interrogation, not a conversation. And it makes a lot of friction in a conversation. It just does. So be active, be alive. Make sure that they understand that you're listening to them. You're actively listening to them. and identity versus role. I love this. There's a book called How to Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar. And they talk about this. And it's really, really great book. And it's a really excellent part of this book is the difference between your identity and your role. Your role is being a real estate investor. Your role is being a firefighter. Your role is being a husband, a wife, an aunt, an uncle, a brother, a father, a mother, whatever it is. Those are the roles. Your identity is that winner part of you. That identity is that castle that's inside of you that says, I can actually do this. It's the part that needs to be fed. It needs to be fortified. It needs to be as strong as possible. The identity part that says, I am a winner. I can do this. Because the roles, there's going to be times the roles are tough. But if you've got that foundation, you've got that castle of the identity, you're going to win eventually. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep taking action. That's all this is. Talking to people is an action. It's all, and it's just being proactive. Top list to call, if you're wondering. These are the top lists to call that I've found around the country. Coaching just over 500 people. These are the lists that are the most effective when you give them a call, when you talk to people. Number one, drive for dollars. 100%. The driving for dollars list it's the hardest list to get because you actually have to go out and do it, or you hire people to go do it, right? But it is distressed. It's distressed properties. The best part is it's a custom list. Nobody has the exact same list. Drive for dollars, huge. Number two is multifamily, right? Multifamily there is so much money in the economy right now. People need to put it somewhere, and people want to put it into multifamily properties. These are the biggest deals we do, is multifamily. If there is an owner that owns a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex in their own name and not in an LLC or a trust, that should be a huge, huge, huge highlight on that address. If they don't have the wherewithal to put that into an LLC or a trust and they own it themselves, there is something going on there and you need to call them now. I am telling you, it is a huge opportunity there. Probate. 75% of probates sell within the first 90 days. It's just the stats. So if it's a property that hasn't been remodeled, if it's a property that has, just kind of gotten run down over time because they don't have somebody there fixing it up all the time, it's a great opportunity. Probate. Vacant land. Oh, that's one you don't see a lot. I am telling you, vacant land, nobody calls vacant land. Nobody markets the vacant land. Nobody goes after these people. And you can get phenomenal deals from vacant land. And tired landlords. Tired landlords I define as somebody that owns an older property built before 1990, and they've owned it for at least 8 years. Tired landlords. Somebody that's they're just done with it. It's an older property. It has to be renovated. They don't want to invest in it. They don't want anything to do with it. And here is a 10-step action plan. Number one, you got to make the decision. You got to make the decision to talk to people. You got to make the decision to be proactive. You got to make the decision that you're going to, without any budget, without having to, do this full time, to pick up the phone and talk to people. You have to make the decision. 2, get a list of at least 2,000 addresses. 2,000 addresses, because you're going to go through these fast. You want to make sure that you're talking to people. The first time that you call through a list, you're going to have the most contacts. The second time through, you're going to have about 20% less contacts. And the third time through a list, you're going to have 50%, 20 to 50%. So you need to have a lot of addresses to call to find the opportunities. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. Skip trace them. Get their phone number. I'll give you the resources. I've got everything here. Don't worry, I'll give you the resources, and we can do some question and answers here if you guys want to do that afterwards. But skip trace them. Get their phone numbers. Get an accurate phone number. Let me tell you a key to skip tracing. If it only costs 2 to 5 cents, they're bad numbers. They're just bad numbers. Typically, you got to spend about 18 to 30 cents to get the right numbers per address. Practice the script 10 times a day so that you know it. Don't reinvent it. It's been used millions of times. It works. Practice the script so that it's all internalized. Call for a minimum of 1 hour for 5 days. Build up your endurance. Don't go crazy. Don't go, Brent, I'm going to call for 5 hours today. I'm going to blow it out. I'm going to get a deal. I'm going to go crazy. And then after 30 minutes, oh God, you're just tired. Man, this is exhausting. Has it been 4 hours yet? No, it's been 13 minutes. Oh God, this is tough, man. This is like, I'm in a time warp here. This is incredible. You know what I mean? So, call for 1 hour a day. Commit to it. Start with 15 minutes, then get off. Go for a half hour. Go for another 15 minutes. Build up your endurance for the conversations. And then go from there. Build from there to where you're doing 3 hours a day. Follow up on every lead and pre-qualify them. Every lead that you get, follow up with them. Every lead. You got to disqualify them or you signing up that contract. They're either going to do business with you or they're not. I look at every lead as hot, warm, and gone. Hot is a lead that'll sign a contract in the next 7 to 10 days. Warm lead is somebody that wants to sell. You've got them at the right price point. You've got a motivation there, but their timeline's longer. They need longer to be able to get their affairs in order to be able to sell. That's a warm lead. And then the gone leads are just people that'll never do business with you. Get rid of them. Bad leads hide good leads. If you have a bunch of bad leads, all of a sudden you're not going to do as many deals because you're following up on these people that aren't ever going to sell their property or sell at a discount. Go on every appointment with certainty and likability. There's some people in here that have never done a deal before, which is awesome. You can still have certainty and likability. Certainty just means that you know that you're there to help solve their problems. Likability means that you're not an asshole. That's it. Just be likable. Don't go there and just try to steamroll people. Go there and be kind and optimistic, right? Go on every appointment like you've got $1 million in the bank and you need to spend it in the next 30 days. Certainty and likability. Listen to only podcasts or something positive in your car for the next 90 days. There's so much negative stuff. There's so much negativity that we can listen to, that we can put into our heads, that's going to affect our ability to have a really positive, really proactive day. Challenge yourself for 90 days. Listen to nothing but positive material. Nothing but really, really good that is just going to feed you and feed your positivity. Read 10 pages of a great book every day. Books are the plunger that plunge out all the crap from your head. Really good books plunge out all of that crap. Read just 10 pages a day. It's not too much. Just get into the habit of it. And then quickly learn deal from no deal and how big of a deal. This is the biggest thing that I see when people are starting this business is this a deal or not a deal? And then how big of a deal is it? Find somebody that you can talk to. Find somebody in this group that can help you to understand the value of the property, to understand whether or not you have a deal. Zillow's not always accurate, right? So find somebody that you can maybe joint venture with somebody. Maybe reach out to some of the leaders in this group and see if they can help you out to get the ball rolling. It's okay to share the first few deals, to understand and be able to know, is this a deal or is this not a deal? Am I wasting my time? Am I trying to go after a property that I think is a good deal, but it's not? Happens all the time. It's probably happened to you in here. So find out if it's a deal or no deal and how big of a deal it is. And that is the 10-step action plan. Here are all the resources for you guys. If you're looking for skip tracing, batchskiptracing.com. If you put in TTP, you get it at 18 cents an address. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal service. The ones that don't come back, some of these don't come back with phone numbers. You can run it through this IVRE data, and you can get the phone numbers there. They've got a little bit different, and they're more expensive. So get through batch skip tracing, then filter through IVRE data. Listsource.com for finding specific lists. Flip This Real Estate List has a ton of niche lists. If you haven't checked that out, I would definitely check that out. My YouTube channel's up there, and TTP program's up there. And that's it, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me go off here.
If you have a question for Brent, we got time for Q&A? I think we've got 15 minutes for Q&A, so maybe have 5 or 6 questions. If you have a question for Brent, let's line up right down here. Come on over, come on quick, make your way over here. While we wait for a couple people, Brent, I've got a question for you. Let's kind of start off like this. How did you, because you started wholesaling, how did you discover cold calling? How did you discover that as your niche? How did that come about?
I didn't have any money. I couldn't market. So I started door knocking, and I got a phone number, and I realized if you have the phone number of a property you want to get a hold of, you can just call them up and talk to them. It's really it. It's really that simple. And now you can do Driving for Dollars. You can go to a Driving for Dollars app. It's literally a map on your phone where you click it and you get the owner's information right there. And then you can skip trace it.
Awesome stuff. Come on over here and line up. If we only have one question, we're going to cut this really super short, but hopefully you guys come over here and get some questions for Brent. Emmett, what's up, man?
What's going on?
Hey.
Hey, Brent. I see the resources up here. I was wondering, do you have a good resource for scripts?
For the calling script?
Yeah, for calling scripts or meeting people in person.
Yeah. So really the script and the calling script is very, very similar, right? So I went through it here. And if you email me, brent@wholesalinginc.com, I'll send you the script.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
That's it? No questions for Brent? No questions for the man who's doing, I don't even know if you want to say how much wholesale volume you're doing.
Well, from cold calling, over $1 million a year.
$1 million wholesaler right here from cold calling. What's up? Say your name and where you're from.
Hey, I'm Rajesh and I'm from Bessemer, Alabama. My question is, you said over the phone, I know exactly what to say, but what do I say when I meet them in person and knock on the door?
So are you talking about just going to the door and door knocking?
Yes.
So it's very similar. You know what I mean? I'm looking for the homeowner. Yeah. I was just coming by to see if you would consider an offer on your property here. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, you can introduce yourself, but beyond that, I mean, you don't have to negotiate this way in. You know what I mean? If you're going to go straight to the door, just say, hey, I know this is out of the blue, but I was just stopping by. You know, I wanted to see if you would consider an offer on your property here. Yeah. Do you door knock real quick? Have you door knocked yet?
I haven't. Thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Tell everybody your name.
Tyrell Cullen.
Hey.
Nice to meet you, Brent.
You too.
I know you said read 10 pages a day. So how do you segment and kind of find that balance between personal development and obsessing over your business?
I think it's kind of the same. I think personal development is your business. You know what I mean? I think that being better at, being more confident, understanding, being more, protecting that identity that you have, understanding that you can do it. I mean, those are all things that get fed through really good books, really good information, really good podcasts. You know what I mean? I think being around really great people builds all of that up. But I mean, specifically with books, read what you like. Read what inspires you. You know what I mean? You don't have to crack open a textbook from a university on marketing to understand how to get deals here. You just talk to people. You know what I mean? So do whatever you can to just understand. I think that there's some great books. There's a book called Versatile Selling that explains the 4 different personality types and how to communicate with them. And I think that that's a phenomenal book. I think The Go-Giver, if you read The Go-Giver, I read The Go-Giver every week for 52 weeks and I tripled my business. Yeah. Yeah.
Eric?
So, my name's Eric Spencer. So how did you decide that there was money to be made in this wholesaling? And how do you ever think it would turn into this?
What's the second
Did you ever think it would turn into what it is now?
Yeah, after I got a big check, I thought that okay, I can just rinse and repeat it. But I think, what I did, the first few deals that I did, I would give them to an investor, and they would pay me just a real estate commission. And then I'd look at the closing statement on there, and I saw that they wholesaled it for $40,000 more, $30,000 more, $20,000 more. So I knew that the opportunity of sourcing the deals is where you can really, really like take control of your business. If you're sourcing the deals, you have so many different options. You can wholesale it, you can flip it, you can hold it. You know what I mean? So I think that sourcing the business is the most important thing. I really do. And so, just building up this business and seeing it, I saw people doing incredible business around the country. If they could do it, why can't you? You know what I mean? Why couldn't I? So I just, I believed that. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
What's your name?
Shani.
Hey, Shannon.
Hey, Brent. Question, if you do have someone calling for you, how can you qualify that lead before actually going out? Like, what is the best thing to talk about?
Okay. Now, are you wanting the initial contact to be qualifying it, or when you're doing your lead follow-up?
Well, I'm kind of like training my dollar, but I'm learning too. So she's like making the appointments, but then when I call to confirm the appointment, I'm noticing that it's not really a deal.
Yeah.
So when I make the call, I'm wondering what should I say to confirm that this is actually an appointment I need to go out on.
So literally, you check the boxes of condition, timeline, motivation, price. What do you know about these? Have they given you these? Have they given you the price? If not, is there a way that you can pull the price out of them before you go? I can't tell you how many times we've been on appointments where we didn't know the price and all of a sudden they want retail or more or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's all those 4 pillars. The condition, how is the condition? Tell me about it. And so you can kind of get a mental idea of how much it's going to cost. You can do a rough estimate of what the repairs are going to be for a house by the square footage of the house. You know what I mean? So when we look at a house that's less than 1,000 square feet, we say, okay, we've got a base of about $10,000 to $15,000. Okay. Now, does it need a roof? That's $5,000 more. Does it need air conditioning? Does it need foundation? Does it need these? We just do a rule of 5,000 to understand the repair value of it, and then we just look at what can we sell this thing for. So what I look at, and it's something that you can do in your market, and I don't know, in my market, the people that flip properties want a 10% return on their money. So if it's a $200,000 sale, they want 20 grand. So what I do is I get 200,000, I times it by 0.84, which is 10% of their profit, 6% for the ancillary costs that they have, the title and escrow fees, the realtor, whatever else, and then I subtract how much repairs it needs, and then I subtract how much I want to make, and that's the offer that I can give. Some call it a max allowable offer, but when you're pre-qualifying them, condition, timeline, how fast do they want their money? Are they ready to sign now? Do they have the ability to sign now? Their motivation, why are they selling? They'll tell you. I mean, once you start talking the condition of the property, they're going to start telling you why they want to sell this property and then get the price. And if they won't give you the price and you've tried everything, you know this neighborhood, what do you think you would take? What's the best price you would sell for? What are the neighbors selling for? Then we throw out a lowball offer just to shoot across, typically it's about 60% of the Zillow price. So if they won't give you a price and it's $200,000, I say, just to let you know, we're buying homes similar to yours in the area for $120,000, and then just see what they say. You know what I mean? So you're trying to pull. It's really important. The price is huge. You got to try to ask and try to figure out a way to get the price out of them. If not, take a shot across and see what goes. And you'll be surprised when people go, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. And then you got a deal. But I love that you've got a caller going. That's awesome. How many hours a week are they going?
She's doing 12 to 15 hours a week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How are the leads? It's rough, right?
Yeah, it's rough.
Is she in the Philippines?
No, she's in Atlanta and I'm here.
Awesome. Okay, good. Are you paying her hourly?
Well, I kind of finessed that part.
Okay.
So
she gets a slice of the deal.
she get a slice of the deal.
She
when
gets
we
a slice of
get
the deal.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Okay. So and this is just for anybody, if you're going to hire cold callers, if you want them to last a long time, pay them hourly. If you want to, if you don't have the budget or you just don't want to pay somebody hourly, you can do it by giving them a percentage. Just there's going to be a lot of turnover.
What is a good hourly rate?
I pay between 15 and 20 bucks an hour for really good. Yeah. There's people that pay $6. Yeah. I do. But there's people that pay $4 an hour in the Philippines. You know what I mean? But again, it goes back to that hierarchy that they're going to be 5 or 10% as good as you. When do you make your calls?
She's making, well, we're testing it.
No, you.
When do I make the calls? I follow up with them on the appointments.
okay.
Should I be making calls too? I mean, 15 hours.
Absolutely. Bam.
I work full time, so that's
1000%.
why I'm trying to
I get it.
do both.
I get it.
Okay.
Give me an hour a week. Give me 2 hours a week.
All right.
Try it. Seriously. Just get driving for dollars. Get a list. Get the phone numbers and just call them for an hour or two a week. Just any time that you can sneak it out, even if it's in the middle of the day, even if it's a Saturday, whatever it is. We have 168 hours in a week.
Okay.
If you work full time, let's call it 40, 50 hours, you sleep another 56 hours, we still got 50 hours to find those 2 hours. Let's find those 2 hours.
Okay.
We can find those 2 hours. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, 3 more. We got time for 3 more.
Hi.
Tell everybody your name.
Amy Hott. You pretty much answered a lot of it with hers, but I kind of just wanted, if you're new to the area, you're still learning, what's the best way with little to no budget to find good value of what you have, like pulling comps, like if you're not an agent, you can't pull anything through there. If Zillow's not completely accurate, what's the best way you would go about that?
Well, a couple different things. One, this is the right choice, right? Being around here and meeting with somebody in here, please come up and talk to her. Amy afterwards and lend a hand. But I think that, finding somebody that can help you do that. I think that also you can just try and fail. You know what I mean? It sounds really defeating, but you're going to learn something every single time that you do that. And I think that, if you can, just, if you're looking at a Zillow, if you're looking at some sort of online appraisal of it, if you're around that 50, 60%, or they're saying numbers around that, you're going to be pretty safe. You can take an appraiser out to lunch. You know what I mean? Just ask them, what about this area? What's going on here? Take a real estate agent out to lunch. Just go network with somebody and just say, hey, if I come across a deal, would you mind, just give me a second pair of eyes on it? Just use your personality. Use you to just network with people that have that knowledge. And then it's trial and error. I lost probably $500,000 selling them too cheap. You know what I mean? Or, locking up deals that were not deals. And then you just learn and learn and learn and learn. But it's just constantly adding to your experience, which is huge. So it's just taking action. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, what's your name?
My name is Khalid. I feel like I've been reading online a lot more that real estate is cyclical and that we're going to be entering a time where it's a little harder to find deals, a little harder for wholesalers, a little harder for flippers.
Sure.
I try not to listen to that,
Yep.
but if it is true, how do you still win when that time happens?
It's still talking to people. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what the economy is going to go through. If there's equity in our economy, I think we all have a hangover of 2008. I think we also remember when everything went down, at least I'll just speak for myself in Phoenix, everything went down to nowhere. No one had equity. The only time you could get deals was at the foreclosure auction or short sales. So I think that it's just two different, if there's no equity, then you're going to have to transition to that. But I think we're in a very healthy, we have a lot of equity in our market. So there's always going to be opportunity to get deals. I think that when the market changes, a lot of people are going to stop and you're going to win. You're going to win a lot more because there's going to be less competition. There's going to be less seminars that travel around the country with celebrities promoting it, coming to your neighborhood, telling everybody that they can do this business. So I think that you have to go from a place of confidence. I think you have to just realize that if you talk to people, if you have those quality conversations with distressed property owners, you can't lose. It doesn't matter. As long as there's equity in the market. Yeah. Awesome question. Yeah.
Last question of the evening. What's up, my man?
What's going on?
What's up, Brent? Hey!
All right, this is a question I got. I'm Darius for everybody. When you're new, you're talking to people, you get a contract.
Yeah.
How do you find buyers for it?
You get a whole room here.
You've been to the reels.
Okay.
You met with people. How do you increase your buyers list?
Couple different things. One, I increased my buyers list by going on LinkedIn and finding everybody that talked about being a flipper, talked about being a contractor, talked about being a hard money lender. I called up the title company and asked who is really doing deals and who they can refer me to and who I can send deals to. I looked at every flip that was going on in the neighborhood. You look at the old listings that sold or are pending or are active, and you look and you find those real estate agents and you call them up and you say, hey, I see you got a fantastic flip here. I wanted to see if you wanted to look at another opportunity in the neighborhood. So I think that you talk to the private money lenders, they have a huge list of buyers. You talk to Brian Tripp, he'll buy it. I mean, I think it's just, if you zero in the neighborhood that you're looking at and you look at who's buying properties there, who's got dumpsters in the front yard, who's got, listings that are about to go active, you can go talk to those people. Yep. Yep.
Awesome. Let's give Brent.
And real quick, if it's a deal, there's a buyer.
Let's give Brent a hand.